Welcome back to Everybody Talks About It. Our next guest has to face adversity, injustice, and discrimination while simply crossing the American-Canadian border. Please welcome our next guest. We are so glad to have you here.
Hello, Thomas. Thank you for having me here today. I'm so happy that you've decided to bring light on this issue that my community faces on a daily basis.
For those at home unaware of what you went through, could you please briefly explain what happened last week?
Sure. Basically, I was just trying to go and visit my daughter who just moved to Salt Lake City. My other daughter and I were truly glad to finally be able to visit her after a big move. However, when we arrived at the border, I was faced with a very offending question. The officers asked us what was our nationality. When we gave Blackfoot as an answer, it seemed like he couldn't accept it. He instead insisted on whether we were American or Canadian.
We have heard a lot about injustices faced by the communities like yours, but this one seems to be one of the most shocking we have heard yet. As a Native American, how did you feel like all of this was happening?
Well, as I mentioned before, I was truly offended. With everything that we Blackfoot have gone through, such close-mindedness was shocking. As someone who identifies as a pure Blackfoot, the fact that the officers I've encountered last week couldn't accept my reality made me feel like I wasn't belonging anywhere and that Blackfoot weren't considered real people.
Knowing that your daughter Letitia does not live with you anymore, would you worried about her or the impacts your resistance could have on her?
Well, this made me worried about my daughter who now lives in Salt Lake City because I didn't want her to lose her Blackfoot identity and forget her heritage. I mean, this is something that could happen to any of us in the Aboriginal community. In a reality where people don't truly seem to understand what we go through, losing ourselves may be really possible.
Thank you very much for speaking out and bringing awareness to this issue. We are now going to talk with the younger daughter who witnessed all of this event.
Thank you, Thomas, for having me and my daughter here today. It makes me really glad that some people here in this world are trying to bring light to this issue.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you for letting me tell our story.
Could you tell us what was your impression on everything your mom had to go through?
Well, at first I was wondering why my mother insisted on the fact that she was not American nor Canadian. It would have been way simpler if she did so.
Do you think that your mom should have simply said Canadian, or are you proud of her for keep saying Blackfoot?
The officer did not really care if we were Blackfoot or not. They just needed a nationality to put down on the form. They even told us so. Neither my mom or the officer would have let it go if it was not for all the coverage this story had.
During your nights between the two borders, has someone ever seemed worried for you or tried to help you or anything?
Well, there was this one guy working at the duty free who clearly seemed to understand us, at least more than the people at the custom.
Oh, we actually have a testimony from this guy, Mal. Working between the Canadian and American border, I'm used to talk and catch up with a few Americans and a few Canadians, you know. I'm actually the one who called the media because this situation made no sense. I could not believe that they kept them there. Have you learned something from all of this shaking experience?
Even if I felt like my mother was being a lot in the beginning, I turned out to realize that sticking to your position can be really rewarding.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
It's my pleasure.